Cities all across Oklahoma are responding to the COVID surge, with some rolling back parts of the Phase 3 reopening guidelines. For example, wearing a mask is now the law in Norman. And as ONR's Rory Taylor reports, many other communities are considering similar measures.
Passed during a city council meeting on Tuesday night, the Norman Ordinance requires masks be worn in public spaces and interactions.
What it really boils down to for me is that the vulnerable and immunocompromised in our city have just as much of a right to move safely through this city as anyone else.
While individual violators won't face criminal charges, a business or individual can file trespassing or disturbing the peace complaints against those who refuse to either wear a mask or leave the premises.
If you're denied entry because you refuse to wear a mask and you just get in your car and go home, no issue there. If you create a scene, if you're yelling and screaming, and some of these things we've seen go viral across the country, that's when the police may be called, and the business could sign a complaint. If they so chose to do so for disturbing the peace, they could trespass someone from the business. But those are the type of offenses that would probably come, and it would be based on the patron's behavior, not their failure to wear a mask.
Businesses who refuse to comply with the required signage to alert the public can be fined up to $500. While council members received hundreds of emails and phone calls in favor of the ordinance, they also received very vocal criticism from the public.
Gentlemen and ladies, I have not seen such a one-sided thing in all of my life. This is not a fair debate. You guys have got one opinion. I can't believe that there's no opposing experts that you've got on here to listen to any kind of contrast.
Councilwoman Patron took time to explain the absence of doctors representing the opposition to mask measures.
People were bringing up, well, why didn't you hunt somebody down that has a belief in the other side? There's not any. That's why.
After a long vocal debate, the measure passed 8-1 near 11 p.m. The lone dissenting vote cast by Councilman Bill Scanlon, who believes the new law will be difficult to enforce.
I respect the integrity of my colleagues in this vote, and I find them to be honest in their discussions and the conclusions that they reach. I've stated my objection, and it's more philosophical relating to enforcement than anything else. But the idea of masks is a good thing.
It's data-driven and science-based, and our doctors are telling us that's what we need to do. I'm just hopeful that, like with the shutdown, Norman started it and the rest of the state followed.
That's a possibility in Edmond, which also debated a mask ordinance at their city council meeting on Monday night.
We're really not here to talk about closing down business, never intended to be. We are here to deal with the facts that we have, and there has been a rapid increase on that number of cases.
Once again, there was strong public opinion voiced both for and against a mask requirement that might include penalties for violations.
We've tried the donkey with the carrot. It has not worked, and it will not work. So it's time to apply the stick to the donkey.
Local business owners shared concerns that a mask law would hurt their bottom line at a time when many businesses are struggling to recover from the first COVID surge.
I believe all of you gentlemen when you said you didn't come here tonight to shut the businesses down, but you can shut a business down without shutting a business down.
Edmond has not yet drafted an ordinance that would require masks.
The only problem with what the doctors recommend is how do we make it work? And I'm not so sure that the mandatory way will make it work.
But the city is still considering options and will reconvene next week.
We really need to hear more from our medical professionals on this, because there are a lot of people that need to be convinced that this really is a problem, and it's not a matter of freedom. It's a matter of your health.
Also on Monday, the city of Chickasha amended its existing requirement for masks in public buildings to allow fines for non-compliance.
The people that are in the facilities, depending on what facility they're in, will make a request for compliance, and then if the compliance is not made, then that's when the police would be involved with ticketing for that. It's a civil penalty of $100, I believe.
Stillwater, like its Bedlam rival, held its own city council meeting on Monday to begin crafting a similar mask ordinance.
I mean, the goal here for me is get more people to wear masks.
As in Norman, Stillwater's proposed ordinance will not involve officers seeking out maskless pedestrians, but will instead leave enforcement to the discretion of business owners.
Well, I think that's why it's important to also have the provision of free face masks, because in that way, instead of the business owner saying you can't come in here because you don't have a mask, the business owner can say, here's a mask. And then if that patron decides not to comply with the law, it's the patron's decision, not on the business owner.
Rory Taylor, the Oklahoma News Report.
And in fact, the Stillwater City Council unanimously approved its mask ordinance on Thursday night, making them the latest city to require masks in public.